Hello, welcome to the Big Black Tent. I'm Naima Freedom, and this is
Natalie Arsenault, trusty sidekick.
woohoo! And we just had gotten a fight with Zoom, and so
For
we're
real.
having a lovely conversation.
Great conversation. All about statues, but it was still great. I had shared all kind of stuff about colonialism and imperialism and all the things. I brought up some Bill Cosby stuff. It was great. It was great.
You sure did. Okay, well, I'm gonna just continue like they were listening. I'm gonna make a little summary. I like the fact that you said that you could understand all sides, and as you brought up poignantly, even though I didn't like it, um, the civil rights, Robert E. Lee's, whatever you like, that's somebody's daddy. That's somebody's daddy who thought he did a good job, and they want a library in his name, a statue in his name to commemorate his legacy, yada yada yada. So I do get that. But since America is not invested, the public schools are not invested in true American history, which I've learned most Americans have no idea what their history is.
That's true.
Then everybody's offended when the truth comes up on either side a lot of times.
It's true.
So since that's the reality, I do understand the need to not resurrect or honor people, historical moments in public spaces because we're not on the same page. Um, and I do one thing you brought up I thought was very interesting because you said, right, because this was happening a lot, I think in the past 10 years, but especially 5 years. And you brought up Bill Cosby. So you have a man who is accused of rape and all these other horrible
Found
things.
guilty of at this point in time.
Oh, that's right. Found guilty. And
Oh.
so then we say, right, we're going to throw away all the artistic achievements
Right.
based on his behavior. And I have to say, may get canceled for this, but I disagree with that.
Oh, I disagree with the whole thing. I disagree with all of it. R. Kelly, Bill Cosby, whoever, like all the people, all the things across all the spectrums, I disagree entirely. But I think it's also because, as I was saying before, Zoom went haywire. Might have been why Zoom went haywire. Zoom might have been like, no, we can't let that opinion out.
The Matrix.
But I am really good at separating human behavior, as deranged as it may be, from the accomplishments of said individual. So if tomorrow they found 12 bodies in your backyard, Rebecca, they found 12 bodies in your backyard, I would be like, Rebecca should go to jail for them 12 bodies. However, or really, and brilliant in her section of intersectionality, the African American experience. Like, that's like if they decide Maya Angelou was a serial killer, I'll be like, and she not here, so she can't serve time for it, and that's horrible. But them books she wrote was fire. Like, I don't know, I mean, can we separate the two? I mean, it's like Satan. He apparently had a beautiful voice. He led praise and worship in the earth and then overthrew or attempted to overthrow the Most High. Like, okay, he did that too. And he got banished or whatever, and he probably could still sing. So,
I think that right there, I would say that Black Americans, or you say crayon color, we are experts at that because we've had to survive. So we have had to historically breastfeed your child, want to murder you and your children, but you're human and we're not going to go down like that. So
we take appropriate steps to mitigate the horribleness. So, if they found Bill Cosby guilty, which they did, then he should serve time. R. Kelly, they found guilty, he should serve time. And he can still be on your playlist. Like,
yeah, I think we should I think we should separate it. However, this is what I do also think. I think when it comes to, because it really touched my heart, and I don't know. Okay, I'm going my white man tip. So I used to watch CBS Morning with Gayle King and Charlie Rose,
Okay.
and that was a little sweet spot for me. I was like, Gayle King, Oprah's bestie, and Charlie. I grew up on some Charlie Rose, right? I feel like that was the expert hour. I could trust what they were saying, even though Gayle, I'm just saying, you be tripping on some of the interviews, but I could.
Gayle say, if they bring Gayle out, I'm like, she's about to butcher a Black person. Here we go. And they did. They gave it to her so they could make us feel better when she do it. Okay, let's go. Let's see what she up to.
I think she does it authentically. I think, like, if I want to be betrayed, I'd rather be betrayed by Gayle. I would. I appreciate that. I appreciate you bringing out Auntie Gayle. Right? It's just like that auntie at the cookout that is going, but she auntie. So
okay.
So she, but I'm like, I appreciate that sweet spot. So when let me tell you this is what's so sad about me. I wasn't really paying attention to the Me Too movement because I was working kids. The one thing that made me really notice is when I turn on the TV, Charlie. I was like, Lord, not Charlie.
Charlie, girl. Charlie.
Oh, I mean, even Tabs, I was like, Tabs, I don't know what you been doing. But Charlie Rose.
But that was just like Matt Lauer. Like, people were mad. Like,
I didn't like Matt.
Well, he had his little personality, whatever. But I'm like, people were mad at like Savannah and the other lady who were on the Today Show who were like, they knew a different Matt. And I think that's what people don't understand. People don't understand that in the same way you have people out there who are like highly abusive to their family, beat their children, drag their wives, cross floors, wives be beating their husbands under their feet, all of this stuff. But but outside of that dysfunction and horribleness, they go out into the world and they make an impact. And so they're the mayor of the city and everybody adores the mayor and they're charismatic and they love them, whatever. They're a project manager at work and they just are so amenable and they collaborate so well and they partner and whatever. And then you see them on the news. And that's why people, when they see people on the news and they go interview them, they be like, man, he used to have a barbecue every other day. It's great. Like, he brought the neighborhood together and he got 12 bodies in his backyard. Like, that's the whole point to crazy dysfunctional behavior. Usually people have multiple faces that they put on and people get to know you as that being. And so when this other thing come out of left field, they be like, that's not the person I knew. And they have to try to reconcile all of that.
Oh, okay. Now, Matt, you're just gonna be on my tip. Cause see, I was this is telling you how much of a latchkey kid I was. I'm like, I was this deep. I had a relationship with the Today Show. Okay. Jane Pauley didn't know it, but she was like my other mama. So me and Jane, okay, so I say that because I remember Matt and Jane. Not that Jane was, oh no, I was good with Jane. I had an issue with the other one, the one that took over. Anyway,
Katie.
Katie. Talk about Katie next time. But Matt, let me tell you when me and Matt fell out in my mind.
Okay, let me hear it. I want to hear it. Let's go.
Me and Matt fell out when, and I can't remember this woman's name. She was the Asian woman. I don't remember her name.
Oh, who used to like go around and do like deep reporting kind of stuff?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. I remember. And she ended up getting a show on like the Discovery Network or something like that.
Yes. Like they had a little riff because she was trying to, I think, go further up and he kind of blocked her. They like had a little riff. And she was like this, in my mind, this outstanding, hardworking person. So, Al, the weather dude, her, because they were Black and Asian at a time that Black and Asian wasn't plentiful on these shows. So it kind of stood out when he was like, okay, all entitled. So he blocked her. And then when I found out that he was acting up at work, so there's a difference between you beating your wife at home, even though it's horrible, right? And you acted up at work.
Is
Okay.
there really? You see a difference?
Yes, yes. If I gotta show you my nipples in the office,
Okay.
okay, you fondling me when I'm walking out the door, that's a little different. That to me, that's me too, right? If you acting up at work, talking about quid pro quo, you give me some, I give you some, right? That's a problem.
And that's
Okay.
different than beating your wife at home.
Let me tell you,
Okay. I
capitalistically,
mean, hey, everybody's
yes.
brain do different things. I'm
Yes.
just asking for some. I'm just asking clarifying questions.
And
Okay.
now I'm gonna clarify this because I'm not saying any of it's right. I'm
Yeah.
saying that if you are sexually harassed in the workplace, right, in any kind of way,
Mm-hmm.
then that is immediate see the door. Okay. I know they have to get evidence and stuff, but that should not be tolerated in any workplace because I know there's a moral clause with teachers, right? But generally,
I
my
mean, there's
whole
anti-harassment, sexual harassment policies and
right
yeah.
at work. Okay. So when I heard like Fox News and people like him were sexually harassing women in the workplace, well, okay, that's clear cut. We got policies around that. I don't know what you're doing at home with your wife in your bed, but we can extend this to here. Okay. So I understand that. And he was supposedly, I think, accused of that. Okay.
Yeah.
He had
Oh,
issue
yeah, he
with
was.
women at the
He had a
workplace.
little button behind
Okay.
his desk and everything. Yeah, he was. Yeah, where he was
What?
close. Yeah. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Mm-mm, I
Yes.
was not surprised because him. Oh, and Curry. That's what it was. That's right. Him and Ann. Okay. Okay. But anyway, so that's that chapter. Men acting up at work because in my mind, because I used to temp and I used to do administrative assistant and receptionist, all this stuff. And it took me a minute to realize, oh, I'm just a wife at work. That's pretty much what your role is in those jobs. So I know people will get mad, but whatever. You get the coffee, you get it's kind of similar. So at home, no, with the rise of social media and people get you acting a full recording,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
When you put online, you make it my business,
That is true. That's true. People
right?
be like, why you always got to comment? Well, you the one put it out here for everybody to see.
You broadcast it in broad daylight. Well, then people have a right to report,
Correct.
right? They have a right to retort. So there's that. Now, if you are, let's say, TD Jakes, Tony,
Who has had some issues.
right? If
Buffalo.
your job is morality, if your job is morality, and you start, I don't know, not being moral based on what you said your job qualifications are, okay, there goes your job. That's all I'm saying. You put yourself in that situation. You are morality, right? And the reason why I'm saying this is because being a proud member of so many different congregations.
Is being the leader of a religion morality?
Yes, it is. That's the expectation, whether it's written or not written,
But
because
but the book itself has amoral things in it.
nobody is wanting to talk about the contradictions. We don't care about those. That's just religion.
Okay.
The
Okay,
job
fair enough. Let's
description
keep going.
says,
Okay.
right, regardless of the contradictions of the text,
Okay.
your job description is you're not supposed to be doing all the stuff that you preach against. And
Well, now I will say that if you preach against it, I need you not to be caught in a room with boys dancing on tables and crystal meth in front of you on the thing. I agree if you've been preaching.
if your story is I'm a recovering addict and I'm having a hard time, well then, right, people would have
Right.
extended grace, but they say maybe you shouldn't be up in that pulpit though, right? Maybe you should, I don't know, take care of your problems before you focus on me. I don't know. I think that's just the adult.
He is a vessel. They are vessels, girl. They are vessels.
Well, this is
And
the
like a
thing.
vessel, anything can pour into it and out of it.
Well, you're supposed to be an adult, and this is what I mean by this. With vesselness, there's supposed to be a consciousness and an awareness. We expect maturity. So maturity
Y'all got
says
some high expectations, Travis. I don't have
no.
none of them
I
expectations.
think these are just expectations of being a mature adult. I think this is called okay. So when I go to work, I'm expected to be there on time. I'm expected to do the job they hired me to do. I'm expected to do that job at that particular
Let me
instance
tell
and
you
not.
about how many employers will tell you how hard it is to find people to do those very things.
I'm not saying we don't do it. I'm just saying that we know that they can fire us at will because of those things.
Yes, but they also usually give you a definitive job description, right? So if you are being hired as a janitor, they're going to tell you the expectation is here are your responsibilities, mopping, cleaning, all the things that you're supposed to do as a janitor. But when you get to religious figures, and I'm just picking on the religious figures because that's what we started with, no one really gives you a job description. And there is no, because you talk to different religious figures and they all have a different view on what should and should not be happening. Nobody has, so everybody has a different view on, it's just like people talk about, I'm gonna pick on Joel Osteen. People talk about Joel Osteen like he's not a religious leader. And they're like, oh, he got that puffy, cotton candy message, whatever. And then they got people who pick on people who fire and brimstone. And they're like, there's no, like, for a religious leader, other than the ability to motivate people to give money, pretty much, there is not really a job description that gets handed to you as a religious leader.
Well, I'm going to say that you have not been a part of like these very structured, predominantly white organizations such as the Presbyterians who are very good at corporate everything. And
Okay.
you do get this is the job description. You
Okay.
have to apply for these ministerial positions. Like, though
Okay.
I'm not talking about Brother Man who started church on his own, right, Hilliard.
That's what I'm talking about.
Decide.
That's the TD Jakes and the Creflo
Okay.
Dollars, and
Okay.
that's
Yes.
their world. They started their own church from the ground up, $2 in their pocket.
Okay.
And yes.
Okay. Okay. So if we're gonna focus on it, okay, we're gonna focus on them. Then I have to go buy the books that I bought from y'all circa 1990s. Okay, because I read them. Okay. Do I need to buy them? Call everybody.
Oh my
Joyce
Lord.
Meyer. Okay, so the books that I bought from y'all's testimonies, y'all's autobiographies, y'all's instructions, right? Your talks on obedience. Okay, so basically your brand, we just gonna put it like your brand,
Yeah,
your
but
lifestyle
let's
brand.
be clear though. For real, brands, other than Chick-fil-A, brands are normally touting only the good things. Like McDonald's doesn't tell you that the preservatives that they put into their brand could possibly give you cancer. Like, that's not a part of their brand aesthetic. Coke does not tell you that if you pour it on a rock long enough, it will put a hole in the rock. Like, that's not a part of the brand. Like, Nike's not telling you that they're using children in Malaysia. Like, that's not part of the brand aesthetic.
That would be a very funny, sarcastic.
That's not a part of the brand aesthetic. So the brand is supposed to be Coca-Cola. We make you happy. Happiness in a bottle. Amazon is, whatever, and then you're done. Whatever that little thing is with the smiley face. Like, all of those things are like not about the negatives. So as a pastor, I'm creating a brand that is uplifting, unifying, all the things. It don't matter, like the dirty stuff that's under the rug, like the fact that I can't maintain harmony in my own household, like we not putting that in the brand. That's not part of brand messaging. This is why I'm always
but if you preach it though, if you
yeah, but that doesn't make it wrong.
If you're saying me and mine,
if do they really
yes,
talk about me and mine?
Yes.
I have sat through, unfortunately, enough mega pastor church pastor people that they very rarely mention peace and harmony in their household. They mention blessings, and people allude that it means that. It allude to the fact that they must have a great marriage, that their children must be sane, but they are often also referring to the Bentley that they just bought last week, and the helicopter that they fly in, and the vacation that they took, and so people make the assumptions.
Okay, that is fair. It has been a very long time, i.e., close to a long time, that I've listened to mega ministers, but I just clearly remember that when they talk, yeah, because this was right, the boomer generation, right? The culture was, these are the instructions, right? This is how you live right? With the onset of the prosperity ministry, which started in the 90s, right? So this is how you achieve peace. This is how you do this. It was like a manual, an interpretation of Jesus' scriptures into a manual, step-by-step guide to peace in your life. Okay. Yeah. So I get it that the fault of us as humans is saying, well, you said, and it's the same thing as like you saying, well, McDonald's said, right? You're saying this is one of the saying, this is
business. Gonna be good. They just didn't tell you this gonna cost them. They just did. They just volunteer. I can see why they left that point out. I would have left out too. I'd be like,
so you're lumping this as one and the same. Like there is no more responsibility for people touting a certain religion, because I'm like, how can you take out the ethics part of religion? You're saying they're just saying, I'm just interpreting this thing and we all in this together trying to do it, and by the way, you get money because you like what I'm saying.
Heck yeah.
Well, I think that's pathetic.
Well, I'm not saying it's great. I'm not saying
for the ministers, I think that's methodology.
I'm just saying this is, again, I am absolutely fascinated by people who look at people who even have less of a connection to them. So it's one thing if you are friends with them and you actually spend time and y'all vacation together and you go places and y'all be at each other's house and all that. Okay, great, whatever. I might get it. But people who are like looking at people who they never really interact with, they are purely a spectator of this person's life from the outside. True. And make innumerable assumptions about the greatness of, and I am absolutely fascinated by it.
Or the assumptions, they're the assumptions of, right, we're projecting, but if I am in charge of, I don't know, the truth, the way, and the light interpretations of God, right, of disseminating this information, yes, a lot of us assuming that you're holding yourself to a certain moral fiber, right? And if there's a, why? You said why?
Why would you make that assumption?
Because wouldn't you?
But I guess the question becomes, do you do the same thing? Right? As a person, right? Because again, and I take this back to politics, like people are always so like, oh my God, I can't believe the president did that, or oh my God, look at the Speaker of the House. I'm like, and I'm just like, y'all realize these are people, and y'all know y'all go to the office and you want to slap about 10 of the 9 people that you just interacted with in a conference room earlier today. So I'm not sure how you think that doesn't translate over to other aspects of life. It's the same thing. Like, so most people like have a lot of issues in general. You talked about this, like you said most people probably special needs. So like if that's if that's the thing, why then would you think that because they say one thing that they are actually taking their own medicine? Because
Wow.
most
That
people
is
don't.
so deep. That is so, so, so deep. The disconnect. Okay. Okay. That's really troubling. Look, I'm having an existential crisis right now. Like,
So
because it feels hopeless now. I think because
no, this should actually be hopeful.
no, this is not okay. So let me bring this up. Okay, because you're gonna say that's what I'm talking about. So when the Dalai Lama,
Yeah, huh?
okay, you heard that right? It could have been I was like, it's a cultural thing. Of course, I don't understand it. It's a cultural thing, right? That's my brain wouldn't even let me go there. It's a cultural thing. I cannot.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the issue that I have. I understand that it's hard for most of us to just be plain honest, right? To be just honest, to tell the truth. Like that is very difficult for most of us humans,
That is correct.
right? To take responsibility, accountability for our horrible decisions. I get that. And the need to defend those horrible decisions or even make wars to cover up those decisions.
That's correct.
Okay? So I get that. And even still, if there is no what Mr. Jackson and Miss Shirley used to say, um, if there is no plumb line, right? If there is no foundation of truth and universal law and expectations, then what are we doing?
Oh no, there's universal law. The question is, do you ascribe to the law? That's different.
So you're saying the expectation is false that people who are preaching this law actually subscribe to this law?
Yes.
That's disheartening.
Well, I think it is hopeful because to me, when you figure something out, you can position yourself accordingly. When you have no clue and no idea, and you're just kind of under a lot of false pretense, you'll be surprised by a lot of things, and you will not have a plan for the thing because you never expected the thing and you never saw the thing coming because you just didn't know that it could exist. But if you know that this is how something works,
Right.
right? I may not like gravity. I may want to be able to fly. But the fact that I know gravity exists, I know I should not jump off of a building unless I want to end my life. But if I didn't know that gravity existed, then I'd be like, oh, I'm gonna fly. And I jump off a building. Then I'm in the midway, halfway at story 30. And then I'm like, oh my God, who ain't gonna fly? And then I'm
So wait a minute. So okay, because my thing it okay. So there's public, right? There's corporations, right?
yep.
So corporations are corporations. So what is the use? Because I'm still feeling kind of existential. What is the use for fighting to making things work, making them better, making them more humane? If people are like, they just gonna pick up anyway. Like I just right. People they gonna then you know what I'm saying? Like just burn it all down. Because that's where
Well,
I go.
I
I go
mean,
to the other
we could
spectrum.
expedite this process and let that happen. That is perfectly fine. Um,
She's
um,
like, no, this was
I mean, we could expedite the thing. Um, but I think people like to feel like there is something, again, it goes to like legacy and things, right? What you are able to say you helped to do, what you were able to codify in your lifetime, right? So I think it speaks to even that. Again, I give you like your question in and of itself, to me, bears the intensity of egotisticalness and human hubris.
Okay, explain.
Because the notion that every sacred text that people who believe in sacred texts believe in suggests that we are in a devolving state, that we are, whether it's physically we're decomposing, whether it's mentally, spiritually, the humanness of us is devolving, like whatever it is, right? We're not getting it right, essentially. It's just we're not getting it right. Which is why people keep, if you're ever born, if you're a believer of like reincarnation, is why you get to come back, because you did not. So let's recycle through this.
Not feeling any more hopeful, by the way, but go ahead.
I'm saying, so the fact that like in our humanity, we're like, what, like it's the duality of either or. Like, why think that I can make something better, and why not just let it just burn to the ground? Like, why,
Why those two extremes?
I'm like, I can't just live my life, like I just can't, like, and humans are going to be humans, and they're going to be messy and ugly and downright deplorable sometimes and whatever, and they'll also have moments of lucidity and enlightenment and what, like, can't all of that exist all in the same plane and space and time and whatever? And we not feel like there's like it's supposed to be a big bang of fixing. I mean, humanity has soldiered on for millennia upon millennia upon millennia.
Yeah.
And so yeah.
Okay, so if I understand you correctly, I'm gonna take the birth model to this, because somehow birth makes sense to me. So I'm gonna take the birth model to this.
Okay.
So okay, because I like how you said, regardless of any of our opinions, humanity is, was, and will be until God says
Till
something
God
different.
say it's time to end it.
So, and we've done this humanity thing regardless of anyone's opinion. It just keeps going.
And
Okay.
we have done repetitive horribleness throughout humanity. I mean, like you look at the track record of humanity.
Yeah.
Against all living creatures, not just other humans, but all living creatures.
Sure.
I mean, you think about it, they actually used to hang people on a cross because they figured out you could suffocate in your own blood. Like, what? What kind of Jeffrey Dahmer serial killerness mind does your government have to have? There's a reason why we have a no cruel, like punishment shouldn't be cruel and unusual, because it was cruel and unusual
Right.
for a very long time, right? So, I mean, okay, back to the birthing effect.
Well, no, I mean, okay, so that's part two. Let's stick to your part one. I like this, because this brings up somebody I want to talk about. So I have my kids, speaking of cruelty and exposure to cruelty, I have my 13-year-old. I have my 13-year-old, like, It's real life. You need to know these things, apparently. So because Denzel is coming out in Gladiator 2, I thought it important as a parent to show him Gladiator 1 for moral compass reasons.
Mm-hmm.
And when we were watching Gladiator 1, I was like, because I apparently haven't watched it in 20 years or more.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, damn, this is really cool. We just feeding people to the
Feed people to animals, letting people fight to the death. Hope one of y'all win, and if you do, you're gonna get eaten by this lion. Have at it. And people in the crowd, people are in the stadium finding amusement
finding
in the thing.
in the thing.
And that's only what we know that we've done in like recent history. Who knows what they did at the beginning of time? I don't know what kind of nonsense they had going on.
That is so true. And I was looking at that like, man, that's really, really, really horrible. Not to say that right, the 20th century is without its horrors, but yeah, um, that's pretty jacked up. So I guess I say that because yeah, I get it. We have come in some pockets because who's to say
Yeah,
right? We've come a long way, i.e. Ukraine, right? There's still war. There's still war, there's still sex trafficking, there's still cruelty.
yeah.
Yeah.
And there's also beauty.
And there's also beauty.
There's also beauty. There's people who, right? Speaking of Maya Angelou, right? Like Phenomenal Woman and Toni Morrison with the bluest eyes. And, you know, you got Thoreau with poetry. You got Shakespeare. You have art. Everything from abstract stuff to pointillism to like just all the things in between. So, you know,
There's a mix of it. There is a mix of it all. So the bird thing reminds me of creation. That creation in itself is a very messy process. And it reminds me that we have to, it would behoove us, not have to, but it would behoove us to know whether we are shedding the blood of birth or the blood of death, right? But there's a messy process in between it. And the secret is knowing, is this giving me life or is this taking away life? And if so, does that mean I have to come back again to this
that, do I have to come back? That is because I would just like to pause and just pause in the void. Okay.
have to come back? So no, you are right. There's beauty in it all, and right, unless it don't feel beautiful at the moment. So let's just put a cap on that. But yes, we've come a long way, and there's still some spots that within ourselves, right? They can be horror versus beauty within all of us.
Exactly. And that is why we have to separate the acts that are horrible from the acts that are beautiful.
So are you describing compassion?
Maybe. All right, now I feel like I'm just describing what seems logical to do.
I love how we create so
different.
I'm like, it sounds like compassion. It sounds like logic.
It's logical, like people are people. People act out in both good and bad ways, all trapped in the same human being.
That's true.
I'm
However, consequences, what are we going to do about?
Oh no,
Well,
the consequences are the consequences.
okay. Okay.
I'm not saying you get removed from the consequences, both positive and negative. I'm just saying that we have to look at individuals in their totality, right? Like I think we talked about, I think last time I ended up mentioning some about performance reviews. And I'm like, if your boss is just looking at what you did last week for your performance review, that seems a bit unfair. Right.
The state of
You
education.
got to look at the entire body of work. And again, consequences for the actions that are done, definitely, both positive and negative. But if we just stop making humans into these godlike figures, which is where the statues come from, then we probably wouldn't have this problem.
Okay. Okay, I can see that. So I can see, yes, in public spaces, no more worship like things that we do towards people. Um, maybe values. Can we put values? Can we make a statue out of the value? Because I love a good statue.
I mean,
The word love. Can love be a statue?
I mean, like that is what the fight is now. Like in Texas, they've decided they're putting the 10 Commandments back up because it was so helpful.
Okay. Okay. See, this is okay. So you're really
value, 10 Commandments of values. And I think it's values that most people would agree with, that you shouldn't lie, you shouldn't steal, you shouldn't, murder somebody. You should be respectful. All that. Like, I don't think there are very many, you shouldn't covet people's stuff. Like, I think those are all pretty universal concepts.
interesting. Okay, I of all people, let me tell you why I am not for. Maybe I'm really for this no public display of any type of religious affection. Let me tell you why. It would make sense if we were in Saudi Arabia, right? And all of us are Muslim and all of us have the same culture and we all have the same expectations of how this thing is going to go.
But they don't.
What you talking about?
That's why there's infighting with Muslims. The entire
but the structure is the governmental structure is this is expectation. They don't have that.
No. There are Muslims who are hardcore Orthodox Muslims. Women can't read, drive. You need to be covered head to toe, only your eyes, the whole
But you
night.
pay my insurance though. That's what I'm saying, right? You buy me a house though. I don't mind being a literal.
Right? But then there are other Muslims who are like, no, I'm okay if become a doctor and you're a woman. I don't care. Like that's not like, so again, no, that is the fundamental problem, that just because what seems to be well documented, it's interpreted in different ways.
Okay. Okay. Well, let me stick with what I know. So let me tell you the issues I have with white supremacists. Every time they roll out one of these so-called scriptures and make it public, somehow people are, I don't know, murdered, ostracized, segregated. Like, I don't trust you. It's almost like we about to really do some dirt, but first we got to cover it up with this. So when you start quoting Jesus' name, all this stuff, I have no issues with who Jesus is supposed to be. But they seem determined to do the opposite. And that seems to be the red flag that they wave. It's sort of like what we're really trying to do is put up the Confederate flag. But instead, we're going to do the 10 Commandments. That's our new sign, right? It's about to go down.
A different signal. We got
it's a different signal. Like I heard this one comedian say, how many American flags signals a Confederate flag? He was like, is it 5? Is it 10? If you have 5,
I'm gonna tell you right now, Martin and I just had this conversation the other day. We were driving around Dallas, and I kid you not, we went into a neighborhood. We were looking for like a park to let the dog out. We thought we found one. We drove into this neighborhood, and at the entry of the neighborhood, there were these 3 massive flag stands, at least 30, 40 feet in the air, flying all US flags. And I literally turned to Martin and said, we need to go. This is not the neighborhood for us. He was like, what do you mean? I was like, you see all them flags? That's a little too many flags. They got 9 flags. It's too much. That's not patriotism. That's something else. Let's move.
That's what I'm saying. You put up the 10 commandments. You're not saying that you in the Jews are one. That's not what you're saying, right? So to me, it reminds me of what Frederick Douglass said in his autobiography when he said, it seems like the more religious they were, the cooler the slave masters
They
were.
were, yeah.
Right? That correlation. So to me, it's like it's about to go down.
I give you Handmaid's Tales. Have you seen it?
No, no, I can't. I saw her lay down and somebody get on top of her, and I cannot do it. I was like, I can't. Why are you just laying there? Why are you looking like a bored wife? Like, no, but this ain't your husband. I just
all from one example in the Bible. All driven out of one example in the Bible.
what women be.
Yeah, well, she couldn't.
It's not your own.
Abraham went in. She was like, "Yeah, I need a child. Go do it. All the things, whatever." And then they got together and had like all from one little example in the Bible. And never you mind that example no one read apparently in Handmaid's Tale that they were in violation. God got mad at Abraham for doing that because he was like, that's not what I told you to do. I didn't tell you and your wife to go do that. Stop it. And I mean, and then later, Sarah had a child, even though she was supposed to be like, never mind that part. They just was like, we want to do this thing, right? So we're gonna pull this thread.
And then you convince some women to do it.
Right.
To submit to that. Because you'll probably kill them if they don't.
That is correct, and they do.
Okay, so is that true submission, or is just that I'm a murderer if you don't do it? Like that's just.
They had a lot of things that they was murdering people for in Handmaid's Tale. Lots of things. Wow. All while they were pious, supposed to be pious and righteous in the hand of God, and all this stuff. And they had a brothel just outside the city where they were sending women to. I'm like, so
brothel with pork, of course.
Of course. Of course. Hello. Yeah, of course. So I mean, like,
Okay. So okay, so I see what you're going. If we do not, which is the issue, right? There are certain people who use worship because they seek authority to control.
That's correct.
Right? So it's about control.
Yes.
It's about control. It's about power. It's about control. Illusory power, but it's about power and control. However, that weaves its way in colonialism, Catholic Church, husband-wife relationships, corporate America, corporate church structures, however that's weaved in, right? Power and control. Okay. So if we know that, if we're aware of, so are you saying that if we say, nope, we're not doing all that in public spaces, is that then, because I'm thinking I can really get with this, is that then a rebellion against the authority that is trying to have control over us?
I mean, I don't know if it's a rebellion against the authority because, whoever is erecting John Lewis certainly did not erect General Lee. Like, the two people, probably not the same people, want to put statues up. But I do think what it does is it says that we no longer need this gesture to symbolize relevance or importance.
I agree. Let's pass this policy. I actually agree. Okay. I do. I see that point, because the main thing is not the symbolism, right? The main thing is the behavioral change.
Right.
Right. The relationship, the community aspect of building a better tomorrow, which takes each of us, not we can honor our ancestors in different ways, like a museum, right? We can honor them in different ways. But these symbolisms are working against us because some of us are so ignorant, and they're using that as weapons against us.
They are using it as weapons. They are weaponized.
Yay, where do I sign? You go pass that? What you gonna do? Write that up?
I second the motion. I second the motion. The
I
motion.
second the motion. I do. I really agree with that.
See,
I
okay,
do.
those statues. And that also goes to your like your religious text and all that, like, you know. But you're also talking to a person who hasn't stood for the pledge, who hasn't stood for a flag or the Pledge of Allegiance since they was in the first grade. So in general, the notion of symbols in general that I'm supposed to like honor seems weird to me in general.
Okay. Okay. Symbols anyway. Okay. I could see that. I think we've used them as like that book discusses as rally cries. They use that as yeah, rally cry, or even what were they saying? It was very interesting. Sort of like sports when people,
Mhm.
I'm
Yeah,
not a sports person. I've wanted to be a part of that, but I don't get
people
that.
crazy. And I'm like, you realize ain't none of these people paying your bills. Like you gonna get up and go to work on Monday after the Sunday night football game. You gonna go and you not be in any different position in life. Your lot in life will still be the same. Okay.
Like I've often like admired that because I'm like, I want whatever that is, I want to feel excited and energized and like, but I don't get it. I don't get it.
I
But
don't
I
get
wanted some of that. Like, yeah.
I don't get it. And I got friends who have played professional football and basketball and I don't. I'm like, y'all know they go home, right? And they regular degulas. That's it. They just regular.
Like people like, they link up based on whatever trigger. I don't know what else to say. There's whatever symbolism that is. They're like, and I get that in a sense that I was out of the country in the 90s. Everything was like the 90s. I really need to move forward. But anyway, um in the 90s, and it was good seeing a fellow American. It was some type of comfort. I didn't know if this was right KKK American. I didn't know anything about this person, but
Right.
it was good knowing, oh yeah, okay, right, having that commonality. That
Mhm.
feels good. If I'm not in Texas and there's, well, maybe not, but if I'm not in the South and there's another Southerner, there's some type of commonality that we agree this food is nasty wherever
Yeah.
we at. Like, you know,
Yeah.
I like that. I think that's important. However, like you're saying, I don't think those symbols that are meant to remind us are doing that. I think they're more divisive than anything.
Right. Well, and what you're talking about, the commonality that you're talking about is an experience.
Ooh. But wait, isn't the statue an experience?
I ain't never experienced John Lewis. Did you experience John Lewis?
Let me tell you my history with John Lewis.
Did you experience General Lee? You may be experiencing the after effect of General Lee and his other cohorts.
Dukes of Hazzard generally. Me and Dukes of Hazzard.
Well, I think that's true.
Well, I guess the thing is this: people do have experience, because if you said if that's your family
Yeah,
legacy,
that's the only people that I could imagine being
yeah,
like, hey, look, I think that they made a great contribution, yada yada. And to which point I would be like, great, erect a statue in your backyard. It'll be fantastic. Y'all can pay
right.
homage and memorialize them and love them and all things you want to do, just like you would at their gravesite. Fantastic.
Yeah, I honestly think that that is the best place for it, because yeah, because it just doesn't seem to, yeah, there's no mass benefit to this that benefits everybody, like, because it all gets knocked down anyway. So yeah, General Mao or right Stalin or Hitler, whoever, whatever it is, right?
Right.
Ideologies change, and maybe we should find another way to express our reverences.
That's correct.
So no, I totally agree with that. No, seriously, is there a policy? Is there policy?
I wish there was a policy, child, because I would be right there. I'd be like, let me help sign it into whatever it need to be signed into. But
See that. So it's not so like New York does on PS 182, whatever, like their elementary
yeah,
school.
their schools are numbered.
Yeah.
What's wrong with the numbering system? Why does your school have to be named, you know, McCullough? Because one person went into space and unfortunately lost a life. And I mean, like, first of all, it's tragic for lots of people to relive it. You reopen in trauma for some people. Like, not everybody wants to remember that.
Right. I think it has been a cultural, it's just been a cultural thing to do, and it's just been done and accepted over time. But I think that's okay to lay to rest. I do think it's okay to lay to rest because it's such a big trigger point, you know. It is a good it's something that we can lay to rest and instead um create institutions like museums or pamphlet. Well, I don't know, you know, we get in trouble with these pamphlets. Museums then. It's hard to have a racist museum. So museums then. Well, except for the gold and stuff that needs to be given back to certain places.
I was gonna say most museums are in theory racist.
That's true. That is, and in fact, when you think about it, I was thinking about this the other day. I was like, how sadistic is this? Because you took the spoils like a serial killer, you take spoils of your conquest. Yeah.
Yeah.
Conquest. Ah.
And then when the people who it belonged to, because this is what happened with the museum in London, there was some artifact or something that like belonged to some government of a country in Africa somewhere. And they wanted the piece returned back. And the UK was like, no, it's in our museum, and so no, it doesn't belong to you. And they were like, but it is ours.
Like your little plaque says it's ours.
Your plaque even say it's ours, but okay, like, so not only like, you think about not only them just collecting the things, but even when the people come back to stake claim to the thing, to say, hey, we would rather display that in our own museum, in our own country, in our own land, and the museum folks be like, nope, that's okay. We're going to keep that right here.
A return to, you know what, I studied, which is hilarious. I studied anthropology in college at a time, because I don't know, it's been almost 30 years now, where everything I studied pretty much is null and void. And I was like, what a degree. And I got to the point when I studied a little bit in graduate school, to the point where, I don't know if you remember, I was a PBS junkie as a kid because, I don't know, latchkey TV. And I used to watch the Yanomami or Yanomamo Indians, the Indians with the bowl cuts.
Okay.
Okay. Well, they did so many hours of film on PBS. Like my whole childhood was watching different documentaries about these folks from the Amazon. Well, right, colonism, integration, some of their kids integrate into society, they go to and they come out like, y'all made most of that up. Most of that. That's not even who we are. That's not even what we were saying. So things change. It's usually one man's story, and then the other man comes back to validate that story.
Oh, yes. I say that all the time when they'd be like, they found a tribe that has not had any interactions with whatever, and we're going in to document. I'm like, so first of all, you don't even know, you can't even communicate properly, because if they've never talked to humans before and y'all are the first, which I'm still trying to figure out how y'all know y'all are the first. So that's, there. But I'm like, if y'all are the first, how do you plan to really tell their story? Because you can't communicate with them because they don't speak English.
Right. The delusional audacity of Reagan. Yes, it's the same arc of the delusional audacity. Or maybe the point is we don't care because it means profit somewhere. Maybe all of this,
Or that you get to stake your claim on it.
or that you can stake your claim
I mean,
on.
I don't think documentaries break in millions and gajillions of dollars, but you definitely get to stake your claim by saying you found this people or this artifact, and this is because it's the same thing with, I think this thing about language in general, which is why I get so disturbed and why I be having to call Kim. Because just I'm like, how do you know what the hieroglyphs said? Do you know anybody who speaks hieroglyph? Just,
Think the locals, I think, look, this is what I learned. Look, white people gonna be mad, but this is what look, I'll give you a little taste. So when I was in college, I went down there to where were we? Gullah Island, South Carolina. Okay. And my professor, white, right? Like, yeah, okay, whatever. So we were down there doing cultural stuff. We were supposed to be doing archaeological stuff, but I was curious about the people. So my matrilineal line through my mom is from that area. Anyway, but I had never been. Okay, so if you're gonna be here, you can be okay, good. So so this is the interesting thing. Our people, us, were quick to say, because he was walking around there too. They were like, look here, we'll tell you.
right?
Don't tell him.
Him. That's what I'm like, who? Why would you think? Also, like, if Aramaic is a dead language, how do you know what the texts that have been written in Aramaic say if it is in fact a dead language? Like, I'm asking.
Because the white people said they found a community who still speaks the language, and we ain't gonna doubt
But
Mr. Charlie.
we don't know if they really speak. We just assuming that they speak the language because I'm just like, y'all, if everybody don't get out of here, I quit.
We can't verify, but that was the first time I realized, because we had this text, right? We had this text that this dude wrote from the Gullah Geechee, and I would brought them my text, the community, right? And they were like, that's not what that means.
Yeah.
They said, you think we tell them the truth?
That's what I'm like. That's what I'm like, I don't know you. I'm not about to bare my soul to you. The secrets of my entire tribe and ancestors from, like, I'm not supposed to tell you that. You.
You're right. You're right. Natalie, you were so okay. Now that gives me hope. Let me tell you why this gives me hope. This gives me hope because for a lot of us who struggle with, what's that called? Not inferiority complex, but what's the thing where you think you faking?
Imposter syndrome.
Imposter syndrome. Okay. A lot of us are walking around here thinking this person, which goes to the worship that we shouldn't be doing, right? Has accomplished all this, or they've done all this. And we don't know what folks doing. They just slapping their names, saying they understand, making up half this stuff, assuming people have more authority than we do in certain areas.
Correct.
And there's this dude on Dan Co. Kim was talking about this dude on Dan Co. And it's interesting because he's just, talking to the camera, but he talks about how you are your niche because there's only you.
It's only you.
They were like, he was like, however you describe it, even if it's a known fact, you describe it your way, it's yours.
Correct. Exactly. Exactly.
It's yours your way. So I love that because at the end of the day, we all out here mixing and messy, trying to get some stuff done. It's not perfect. Maybe there's some beauty in it. Maybe there's some horror in it. Usually there's some horror in it. But, right? But we are worthy of whatever it is that we've brought thus far based on our experiences.
Yes. I hope that it's not a question for people, but I feel like it is a question for people.
It is hence the statues. I think hence the statues. Hence our knack. Gracie, say hi. This is the big black tent. This is my 6-year-old being very 6-year-old. Is the phone dead, Mama?
Yes.
Okay, let's go find the charger.
Here
Or go
because
turn on the TV. I'm almost done.
make no qualms about it. I'm only here because the phone is dead.
What'd you say?
I want mommy.
Okay, well, you got to give me some more minutes, okay? Or you just got to be quiet. All right. So the reason why I say that is because there is a sense of, I think most of us, they say 80% of us who are in jobs that we hate, relationships that we hate, is because there's some sense of powerlessness going on, some lack of authenticity, some sort of assigning something to someone else, thinking that somebody else has the authority that we don't.
Mm-hmm.
And that is why we erect statues. That is why we've been convinced to do this, because someone else knows best.
Correct.
Okay. So I love this because at the end of the day, these I don't know, I used to make a habit of reading a lot of these scientific papers on the latest and greatest health studies. And it's all a practice, and it's all peer
They
reviewed.
conflict every 2 weeks. This week they tell you coffee is great, and next week they're gonna tell you, well, coffee caused 4 heart attacks. It might be as great as we thought it was.
Right. So I'm like, and this week I got into little pivot. I got into oil pulling. I don't know if you heard of oil pulling.
Yep, Martin does it.
Really? Okay. Like Columbus, I just discovered oil pulling. And I was like, wait a minute, because I use oregano oil for everything, but I've never used it for like oral care.
Wait, you put oregano oil in your mouth?
Well, let me tell you what
Because
happened.
I have taken oregano oil, but like I usually take it in a pill form, and I use it to like kill all the viruses if I'm on like an airplane or something, and I feel like somebody sneezed and they was too close to me and all that stuff. But it burns to like just put the oregano oil.
It does by itself, but if you put a drop in coconut oil.
Okay, so a carrier. Okay.
Carrier oil, it does not. Now I expected it to because I burned the mess out of myself. But nope, in fact, you can do up to like, it gets spicy if you do more, like 2 or more drops, no, more than 2 drops.
Okay, for like a tablespoon or something.
Yeah, like do a tablespoon of the coconut oil, and then put like 2 drops of oregano. 1 is sufficient. But I was doing this, right? And I did turmeric with this, and I was doing turmeric, and I noticed within a week of doing it 3 times, no more bleeding on my gums. I was like, that was quick. Now, I say that to say that nature's been here the whole time.
Nature has been here the whole goddamn time. The whole time, holding up a sign.
The whole time. The whole time. And I said, wait, if oregano oil burns, why does Listerine burn? So I went down a little rabbit hole with Listerine. It does not prevent cavities. But anyway.
It does not.
It's a man-made chemical. And if you swallow that bad boy, you're going to be in big trouble.
That's correct.
So I was like, they making it up. They're making it up.
The real imposters are them, us, whatever you want to call it, right? Because ultimately, these things, they've been here. They have not been hiding. They've been out here minding their own business, living their own best life. And we continue, the collective, we as humans, continue to try to impersonate them.
I love it. I love it. Yes, we continue. We try to impersonate the real thing. Yeah.
Instead of just using the real thing.
Instead of real thing. So if we are not doing the authentic thing, operating out of our authentic selves, then it's really a hard road to hoe. It just is.
It's very difficult. It's very difficult.
That makes me feel good inside.
Look at you coming full circle from hopelessness and helplessness to joy and prosperity.
But we do have a, well, humanity as a whole has an issue, whether because of war, whether because I'll kill you if you don't do it, has a real issue with externalizing everything that we need, right?
Yes. And I remember you and I had this conversation when we were drinking coffee because you were like, you asked me, you were like, why do you, almost similar to the question that you asked earlier in this episode, you were just like, why keep going on then? Like, how do you keep going on if like none of this is relevant to you or whatever? And I'm just like, I don't get none of my value from none of this. Now, don't get me wrong, I do like cute things.
Well, I like what you said. My value doesn't come from it, but you can benefit from, you can pick and choose, but your value
Correct.
doesn't come. You don't.
And I've said it, I have said it to leaders before in rooms where people were attempting to, you know how white corporate American can get, and they try to squash you or squash something that you have done or something, whatever. And I've been very clear that if I don't deliver a goddamn thing here ever again, my value is unchanged. Intrinsically, I am invaluable, period. Sitting here, breathing on this goddamn couch, unchanged value, in perpetuity, forever and ever and ever.
In perpetuity, you better go, Chappelle. Hold on one second. In perpetuity. Oh, I love it. My value is what I'm to have to rewind that and put on a t-shirt for merch.
Put it on a t-shirt for merch. Put it on a bracelet. Put it wherever you need it to go. Write it on a sticky note on your mirror. I don't know what to tell you, but that is it. I will never walk into a place and feel like I don't belong. I will never want, like, I don't need nobody's external validation. None. I'm here because the Lord and the universe have decided I should be here. And therefore, if I'm here, I have value. And whatever I touch is valuable. Period.
That's right. You just preached that sermon. You just preached that sermon. We're going to take this clip and export it. You just preached a sermon. Amen. Close the doors of the church. Pass the offering plate. Because we're going to pay for this knowledge today. We need this value to translate into dollars.
I mean, just wish, I'm fascinated by how many people like need external validation. I was talking to somebody about this the other day, and we were talking about this. There's this reality show called Love is Blind. And it's on Netflix. And basically the idea is that these people meet, they never see each other, they talk, whatever, they fall in love with each other while talking, have never seen each other, they see each other. Once they proposed, having never seen each other, they finally see each other, and then they like go live their life leading up to like actually getting married. And it's fascinating to me because people be in here pledging their undying life to people who they've never seen, which is fine, whatever. Never seen them, undying. I love you. Oh my God, I can't wait to start my life with you. It's gonna be so fantastic, whatever, all this stuff. They meet, they still love each other. It's great. We're on this honeymoon, whatever, all things. And then at some point in time, somebody will normally talk about their family and friends and like they're getting to know the other person and all this. And at some point in time, somebody will say, well, I really hope that, when we get back and we, start getting introductions to families and things like that, that my dad or my mom or insert human really likes you, because if not, I don't know if I'm going to be able to go forward with this. And in my head, I'm like, so this person you believe is your soulmate the person that you are destined to walk through life with. And you're going to tell me that if some other human being, I don't care who that human being is, doesn't approve of this person, you're going to put that on the back burner? I can't even imagine. And of course, I like, you know my story of marriage. Like I ran off and eloped, didn't tell nobody because I was just like, this is between me, Martin, and God. I don't need nobody approval for nothing. God told me I'm supposed to marry this dude. That's the only person's voice I needed to hear in this case. Therefore, we will go do this goddamn thing. So like it's just I just don't it's I am without
I
words.
I do understand that. I do understand that from this perspective. I do, because I now understand that people, so like how you said it in a different way about statues, right? Like the whole General Lee, like that's somebody's family. Like how people validate their experiences based on clan, right? They validate their experiences based on clan, and based on their particular family structure. You're not just marrying the person, you're marrying the whole family, right? That is a true belief system in many
And
spaces.
they gonna have to figure it out. Like I don't know. I don't understand. Because somebody told me that they were like, yeah, but family means a lot to me. And oh, that's fine. That doesn't diminish the fact that your family means a lot to you. But I'm also not about to leave what I believe to be the love of my life, my soulmate, because my daddy decided to say he don't really like the dude.
Now, how old are these people?
These people are old. These people are like 26, 32. I think the
Oh, well,
oldest person I've seen on there is like 34, 35 or whatever. But like, we're not talking about 17-year-olds who frontal lobe ain't fully formed yet. That's not what we're talking about.
you can argue that.
Grown ups.
We can argue with a grown. We can argue.
Good
But
argument. It's true. It's true nowadays.
but no, I see what you're saying. But no, I do get it, because a lot I've learned. I didn't have this. I didn't have that attachment, right? I didn't have that because I didn't have the luxury of having that. But I could see if you're from a certain family unit and your unit functions together, and there is a matriarch or a patriarch, and there's a right, and whatever says is goes, and this person hasn't developed independent thought, which I don't know today, even
I mean, there's a lot
late.
of people out there.
Yeah.
I mean, that would mean you would be asking for permission for everything. Like, do you ask them, how do you make, like, 'cause then
Yeah.
what my brain does is, like, do you ask them what you're going to eat for breakfast? Like,
No, but when it comes to life, I would think that was a life altering decision. Then yes, a lot of people do that. And I'm even saying that in regards to people even having relationships with best friends or girlfriends or guy friends, and they asked, what do you think? Like, there's a lot of that. There's a lot of that where people are interdependent in their decision making. And if their friend doesn't say it's then they doubt. And
I mean, you can certainly share your opinion, right?
there are
Like,
people
I,
who base
you know,
that on that.
I'm open to perspectives, for the most part.
But no, people make decisions based on what other people say and go against their own interests. Isn't this what we heard when it came to white women voting, going against their own interest?
Yeah, and again, I don't understand it. I'm like, first of all, it's secret. Your husband ain't gonna find out what you pulled the lever for. You just look surprised. On the day that the other person be like, "Oh my God, he won! I was not expecting that at all." Play it off, girl. Play it off. Like, I just, I don't know. It's odd to me, and I wish people would grasp that concept that like
But the
there.
externalization of power is real, hence why most of us are in the situations that we are, because we have been programmed to externalize our authority. That's what makes this whole system work the way that it's working. Is that, like the Matrix, we have externalized our authority. We have not, we don't use this to validate this way to the most high, whatever. No, it has been externalized in our medicines, in our healthcare, in our dieting, in our career choices, in our relationship. It's externalized. That's how you can have a Black woman going to the hospital to have a baby and have a fight about who should listen to her about her body and die, regardless if she's a billionaire or not. We have externalized our authority. We're not listening to ourselves first. It's a fight to check in. It's a fight to listen to. We're disconnected. We're disconnected. We're getting better about it, but we are severely disconnected, which is why we have all reincarnated back onto this planet.
Like, dear Lord, let me know, because
If you hear you all you we this is the issue.
I'm like, it's like, I just want to stay in the void next time. Don't drop me back in. So
This is why we're here. Now, like, let's say, like my Gracie, who I am doing my best to teach her lessons to validate her own inner authority and, listen and check in. I quickly see as she leaves mommy, that is dismissed left and right and in 1,000 different ways from people who love her, right? You are not supposed to be that authoritative in this society and a little girl, right? You are not supposed to have autonomy on your body and speak about it as a little girl, right? So we have so far to go because this is happening. This is the war. This is the war, and this is the work.
your mind is definitely the war. Your mind is definitely the war, the battle, the everything, all the things.
It is. Or even us, like your mom. I love that quote your mom said, right? Us giving the authority of our mind over our hearts.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That whole internal, and people not understanding that your mind is not the main component. They will argue up and down over that.
Yeah.
So, right? So I'm like, it's pretty deep. It's pretty deep, but it's necessary and it's beautiful because I love how you knock down. Look, all of basically what I hear you saying is all of us is falling short, right? To the glory of God. It's a whole bunch of messes out here, but you're an expert in your beauty and your pain. So carry on.
Carry on. Carry on in your greatness.
Carry on in your greatness and don't let anybody usurp you because they have the same beauty and pain issue.
That is correct.
Right? But we're struggling with that. That is a continuous struggle.
It is. I can see that because social media.
Because social media
it's illuminated it for me in so many ways. I'm like, y'all
the internet wins. The internet wins. I love the internet. Sometimes I'm like, wow, I would have never imagined it. It probably would have been better if I didn't see it, but I would have never what people be doing.
You see this? Can I mind's eye, please unsee. Where is the rewind button to not see the last 42 seconds? Okay.
People are so creatively destructive. And I'm like, wow.
Oh my God. No, I know. Oh my gosh. I just be like, who can I like I don't can I send you a message? Like what can I do to let
wow.
but that is it ain't gotta be like this. It doesn't have to be like this.
Yeah, that's the message. But I think it's getting one thing I love about our conversation podcasts and social media is people are geniuses. I've seen some solutions and some practicalities, and I'm like, oh, I feel like people are out here like helping each other. Like, what? I didn't know that. What? Right? There's a lot of those moments. Like, okay, doctors ain't healing nobody, but let me tell you, some of these YouTube shorts
Healing a goddamn thing.
they not healing nobody, but people got some hacks. Yeah.
And we still put respect on their name. I don't again, if there was a list, we would be like 10 scrolls in for the things I don't want.
but that belief system is thick because it's so ingrained. But now you're starting to see a lot of doctors quit
Mhm.
and get on social media about how jacked up it really is. So
Yeah, I'm waiting for the drug that heals something. That legitimately, and even the drugs that on the surface it sound like it heals something. When it get to the end, you be like, wait, no, so it didn't really like the drug for HIV folks, which look great if you get your number count down and all that, but it's like that the virus becomes undetectable. And in my brain, if the virus is undetectable, then how do you know the virus is still there? Shouldn't the virus be gone? If you can't detect it, then that means it's kind of not there. But they never say that it heals you. It's just undetectable.
it's under, and they never stop having safe sex,
That's correct.
right? You can't be like, okay, we can
They'd be like,
just speak
oh, it's
about
not,
this.
so I can, right? It's, I just, and the vaccines, I'm like, I thought the vaccine was supposed to make you impenetrable to the virus. Like, I thought,
Yeah,
like, and now
I
that
thought
the vaccine is 76% effective. I'm like, then that's not no goddamn vaccine because the other
no, no.
24% of
And
us,
I didn't know, like, you get it, but it's supposed to just mitigate the symptoms.
yes. And I'm like,
But I'm like, but that's natural immunity, right? You
it's
get it,
natural. I
and if you
am
don't
like, I thought
die,
y'all was supposed to be stopped. Like I thought it was supposed to block. Like,
it doesn't.
mm,
It
mm.
does not block. And now they find out that it's more harmful. So for those of us who got chicken pox, right? Never mind those of us who've had what's the times 3 and 4 when shingles. Okay, never mind that reality. But if you get the chicken pox vaccine, the next and come in contact with chicken pox and get it, you can still get shingles because technically you already had chicken
I
pox.
already had chicken pox. Yeah.
So they were like, there's some young people who are younger than usual getting shingles, and the shingles can be ferocious for them because they never had
I had chicken pox.
chicken pox. I had shingles too many times in my very
Really?
stressed moments. Yeah, girl, after I had Gracie, I think everything was compromised, including my stress. And I ended up getting shingles that year, like 3 separate times. I did.
Because everybody I know, which is only like 2 or 3 people who have had shingles, is like it ain't nothing to play with. Like people said they lost hair, they had rashes in their eyeball, like it like all kinds of crazy stuff.
I better knock on wood. No, I just had like three, like it was, but see, look, obviously my level of pain is a bit high. So it was like, obviously, because it was like clusters. I
Yeah,
remember getting chicken pox, and my chicken pox was like booty hole, bottom of the feet, mouth, scalp, like that was horrific. So maybe that helps a little bit. But my shingles was just like clustered on my hip and then one on my back, and they were
okay.
just little clusters.
Yeah, people
And
said they were clusters, but it was just where they were getting the clusters. Like they got it in their scalp, so they lost hair. Or like one guy that I know who works at Whole Foods, he was saying, he was telling Martin and I that like he had gotten it in his eye.
oh my god, you can go blind. That's
And
crazy.
basically they were like trying to prevent him from going blind, and he was starting to lose his sight in that eye. And yeah, it was bad.
Oh no, no, I didn't. No, I had it in place where you could cover and still go to work. Thank God.
Okay.
The only issue I did learn is that because I was breastfeeding at the time, um, Gracie ended up getting like chicken pox at 4 months.
Oh, okay.
Um, but I don't know. She's breastfeeding, so she's like,
Yeah. She now
she's all
she
right.
all the things. She probably ain't even gonna have shingles. The shingles virus is
Right.
gone. Chicken pox is gone. Everybody gone. It's gone.
There we go. And she's good. She don't remember, like she's fine. So other than that, right? Other than that, yeah, if you get it and survive, that's supposed to make you stronger. I didn't know these viruses were just, it's just maybe what they were, the live viruses, the live vaccines that were given in the 70s, like that we
Right.
got. But this cocktail of crazy that they giving kids now,
Yeah.
with all the preservatives and fetuses from abortions and monkey liver, monkey blood. I mean, it's just ridiculous. I
Outer space moon ships.
mean, moon chips, formaldehyde, Clorox, egg yolks. Like, I kid you not. And they bold about it. Like the 10 Commandments. They are bold about it. You go on the CDC website and type in pink book, it lists all the ingredients. They're like,
Oh yeah.
human fetus, what they're not even trying. And when the doctors were arguing me down because it became a real controversy after a while, I would print that out and I said, I have no problem giving a vaccine if you could tell me where to get the live one. If you don't know where the live one is, then can you explain each of these ingredients to me? They could never explain it to me. And I said, my child has allergies, and he had a real bad reactions, which
Yep.
led me down that road.
Happened to me once.
So they would, kind of leave me alone because they weren't educated on what it could do. And if you break your baby, coincidentally, nobody's gonna fix them. It's your fault. That was the thing. They're gonna deny it. They're going to deny it.
They're gonna say, "Wasn't us? We didn't do it. Not us. It's all you. You did that."
So yeah, our medical establishment. But look, I think this was a very pivotal conversation to start off. Crazy with the Zoom, but I think this is important.
It was. And Zoom tried to get in our way, but we overpowered you, Zoom. We overcame and we conquered. And we have a whole episode now. No thanks to you, Zoom.
No thanks to you. Are you still in Dallas?
I am. I am. I just got back what's today? Tuesday? Sunday night. Then I leave Friday.
Okay, good. Happy feelings to you. Okay, well. No more statues. Okay, so until the merch kicks in, no more statues.
Jeez.
Stop outsourcing your authority. What'd you say?
No more statues is the merch from this show.
No more statues. Don't outsource your authority.
Do not outsource your authority, and you are invaluable no matter what.
Invaluable no matter what. Oh, the big teddy bear on it.
Without the teddy bear.
The teddy bear's not a statue. But the teddy bear, she's like, no. You don't want no teddy. You don't want a totem animal. No,
I'm okay. If you drop statues, we're gonna throw the totem animals in there too. I'm gonna be like, everybody keep all the things. All the things.
Okay, well, until next time, blessed be.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, Natalie.